Good morning, everyone. Dr. Stillman and Jim Laird here today to talk about how we use high dose vitamin C. This is the part where I have to say that before you make changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation regimen, or medications, you should consult a qualified healthcare practitioner because I can't possibly practice medicine via webinar. And I think that's enough on that. So today I want to give people a really big overview of vitamin C, what I've found, what I've read, researched. There is a lot of noise and confusion out there about vitamin C. We're going to talk about why that is and how those different things pushed me to using vitamin C in the practice as I now do. Before we jump in, Jim, how are you this morning? Anything you want to add before we kick things off?
I'm fantastic. A couple little things non-related to this. Had a whole family of monkeys move in next to me, howler monkeys. So they wake me up like roosters do. And, then it's really interesting to observe Rommel. Of course, you know my dog Rommel well. Rommel, literally my housekeeper, interacts with him and he knows Spanish. Like she talks to him and he does what she says. It's insanely crazy. Like it's crazy. So I know not on topic, but just some things people might find interesting.
That's
But
hysterical.
no, I've been pleasantly surprised. I've known about the power of vitamin C for a long time. Obviously, I've used it intravenously at times for some different health challenges that I've had. And then the vitamin C powder that you've introduced me to is a very powerful tool. So
Yes.
definitely very powerful, definitely underplayed in the modern medicine paradigm.
Right. And I want to make sure that I cover everything today. Ask your questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. I may not be able to answer them specifically because I may need more context, but I will at least answer generally as to how I think about this clinically in the practice. So, vitamin C, where does the story really begin? Vitamin C was really isolated and then it began to be produced in mass quantities 70, maybe even 80 years ago. Albert Szent-Györgyi is the guy who won the Nobel Prize for isolating it from Hungarian peppers. And then people started to use it clinically. The guy who I think probably best exemplifies the early pioneering use of vitamin C was a guy named Frederick Klenner. If you want to learn the full story on this, that's where you should start. It is an amazing story. And that's, by the way, without going all the way back to the 1700s when the British started to realize that there was something in citrus that protected their sailors from the disease we call scurvy, which is vitamin C deficiency. So Szent-Györgyi discovered this, synthesized it. It started to be produced in mass quantities. Frederick Klenner's work was pioneering and fascinating. At the time, we were dealing with a very high burden of both heavy metal based, but also then petroleum based chemicals and pesticides. That was the era not only of DDT, but they also hadn't fully phased out pesticides that were made with things like heavy metals. If you want a very thought provoking book on the history of polio, read a book called The Moth in the Iron Lung